Good day. It is about 16 degrees. It's supposed to get up to 21 today, so nice day, a little bit breezy. Today I am heading towards the Strathcona Footbridge. I'm in Quarry Ridge or something in the very northeast part of Edmonton. And I was kind of making my way towards this bridge the other day, but I had 2 more kilometers to go to get to it, which means 2 more kilometers plus the other distance to get back to where I was at the Northeast River Park there. And just didn't have the jam that day, so I thought, well, let's start out in this fancy residential neighborhood. Some big beautiful houses with nice view of the golf course down there. And they get big yards here too. I mean, you look at these, are just like, you'd almost think that was an apartment building. Yeah, so I'm going to cross over the other side of the North Saskatchewan on that bridge and just carry on through the trails. I don't know, I think it's called Strathcona Trails over there. So let's see where this takes us. I like that sign. I own firearms and a backhoe. What a nice view here. So we've come to the entrance of the golf course. Every time I start recording is when I get notifications on my phone. Oh well. So where I was going to start was over there. I don't know if you can see backhoe in the distance. Maybe it's that guy's backhoe and that's where he's burying the bodies. But they are still building out some of the trails up here. So yeah, so I had to kind of take a bit of a detour here. And I forgot to start Runkeeper. Yeah, so where they have it fenced off over there, there is a bit of a parking area over there that you can hit this trail up with. So this was just the detour, so now we're gonna get on the paved path here and start heading towards the river. Beautiful, ideal day for me today at the current temperature and the breeze. So we will enjoy that today. This being a Friday around noon, I'm hoping the trails are going to be somewhat quiet. God, you gotta love the look of a golf course, eh? Nicely manicured and green and everything. That's how I might like my backyard to look. But it never will. Not for me anyways. This was a slight downward drop, so it'll be a good bit of getting the heart rate up, heading back up, and we're coming towards the end of our walk. Here we are, coming up to the bridge. Got to be careful here. They had a warning for errant golf balls, so I don't know if somebody can drive it this far. Good on them, I think. This is a nice viewpoint off the bridge at the river here. Now the other day, if I had kept going or coming from that direction, I would have ended up here. But like I said, it was about a 2-kilometer hike beyond that point over there, so didn't have the gumption to do it. I'm not going to head that way right now. I'm going to go across the bridge here and head over into Strathcona. But she's nice here. River looks a lot calmer than the other day. Yeah, you can see this part of the trail fairly new. Same with the bridge. Guys over there starting to paint lines everywhere. Be an interesting job, eh? Walking along with a line painter and just following a trail, painting the lines. I'd never heard of this bridge before, so pretty nice to discover these things. kind of neat. Plaque of the River Valley Alliance. Nice viewpoint off the bridge here. Pretty murky, the river, as per usual. That was the north. Now let's look at the south. Still construction going on, but if I didn't know better, this bridge just opened. So we got to take just a bit of a detour as they're finishing up the parking lot there. We are officially in Strathcona now. Strathcona County. We're now heading north. This part is called the Riverside Trail. And if we'd headed east, there's a road over there too that we could have picked up that would head north as well. Well, we could continue straight, but they've made this new path here, so why not take it, right? I think it might just be a horseshoe here and takes us back to that kind of road that we're on, or some kind of open area here, but let's check it out. Yeah, they must just be creating a sitting area or something, because it just leads us back onto the old path. New to me, but the path is well established. I believe if you keep following this trail system, you can walk right into Fort Saskatchewan. I think I mentioned that the other day. When I stopped and looked at the signpost from over there, it looked like it was a 17-kilometer walk from the Northeast River Park. Where we started, though, won't be nearly as far. I don't think we'll make it to Fort Saskatchewan today, but always a good goal. This part of the trail obviously is a loose gravel trail. So back where we started was gravel, and then it went to the paved trail, and then now we're back on gravel again. So just be mindful of your steps. Gravel always can be not necessarily steady footing for a clumsy guy like me. No tree roots sticking out of the trail though, so that should help me. I don't know what the rules are on this trail particularly, but I'm going to assume it's cyclists, walkers, and people walking dogs, and I think let's assume your dog needs to be on a leash over here. I didn't see any signs about it being an off-leash area. Same with your cat. If you're out walking your cat too, it should be on a leash. I say that in jest, but there are people who actually can leash train their cats. Our cat used to just follow along with us when we would go on a walk. After we crossed the bridge and got away from the construction site there, the peace and quiet quota is at least a 9 out of 10. I can still hear some rumblings of the city behind me, but overall that's pretty quiet compared to being right in the city. It's Friday today and I'm off, which is how I try and keep it. I like to have as many Fridays off as I can, because I work the 980 plan, where you work an extra hour a day, and then get every other Friday off. So with Monday being a holiday and today being off, I only had a 3-day week. Now the downside of that is I had to try and stuff 4 days worth of work into 3. And whenever you rush like that, things get forgotten. So I have to go on a road trip on Monday for a installation. And of course, I kind of got my paperwork in late. Now it's not so bad if it's just me, but I got vendors lined up to come in to do the install. So even though I'm off, that kind of thing is just sitting in the back of my head. Got the geese flocking over there. Got a pond full of ducks. I imagine they're getting ready for winter. I don't know what kind of winter we're supposed to have. If you look at the Farmer's Almanac, it's supposed to be cold and snowy. If you look at the Weather Network, they're saying warmer than normal winter. And then there was one guy, some weather aficionado, I don't know if he's a meteorologist or what, but he's talking polar vortex and is it El Nino or the other one where ocean temperatures are going to be a couple degrees lower, so could affect the weather patterns and make things better or worse. That's what I love about predicting the weather. Somebody out boating, having fun, making noise. That's what I love about the weather, right? Best way to tell what the weather's going to be is to stick your head out the window that day, and that is what the weather's going to be. Can't plan for anything. This pond is starting to dry up a bit, so it's kind of stanky along here. I don't know if this trail is more of a cyclist trail or what. I haven't come across any other walking partners. The odd sitting space every now and again if you need a rest. I believe this is part of the Trans-Canada Trail. At least I think that's what Google had said when I was looking it up. Something about wastewater and stuff in here. Maybe that's what I'm smelling. Maybe this is where they take the ooh out of poo. I don't know. I wonder if I'm going to start seeing coyotes again. They kind of disappeared after, I don't know, mid-spring and summer. I don't know where they go, but maybe towards end of fall and winter they come to areas that might have easy pickings for food. We have had them roaming our neighborhood in the past. High voltage, open tanks, automatic equipment, dangerous gases from the Wastewater Commission. Yummy! I think a lot of times these trails are put in where there's crap land that can't really be developed very well for much. But that's fine. Gets us close to the river anyways. And the river is just beyond those trees. There's a bit of an opening, you can see it. I already mentioned what river, but kudos to you if you can put in the comments what river you think it is. And while you're doing that, don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up, you know, all those good things. Let's go look at this river to be named by you. Next to me is the wastewater runoff. I guess there must be a treatment plant around here somewhere. And this is where the treated water comes back out. Kind of hard to get to where it's the outflow is, but you get the idea here. I'm just trying not to trip and fall in. A little foamy. But when I was at Clover Bar, it was the same thing. There's foam in the water when it comes out. Hopefully it's mostly clean. This bank is a little dicey, so I'm just going to walk back up to the trail. So far, I've had 4 cyclists pass me. And that's it. Yeah, it's Strathcona County Riverside Trail. And it is part of the Trans-Canada Trail. So if it truly is a Trans-Canada Trail, you could probably walk from one end of the country to the other on these trails if you wanted. Don't quote me on that. Maybe do some research before you just throw on a backpack and start hiking. And as you can see, the trail's quite a bit narrower here and a bit more rugged. Not quite as maintained with gravel as what we've seen so far. It's only supposed to get up to 21 today. I say only because that's still normal or above normal temperature, but the rest of the weekend is supposed to be in the upper 20s. Me no like that. Especially by then it's going to be like the middle of September. Or close to it. Shouldn't rush my favorite time of year away. And it does make it more pleasant for walking when it's warm out compared to winter, but I don't know. We're all going to burst into flames one day, I think. Every day it's getting yellower and yellower. Dirty poplars are starting to drop their leaves. Bit of a picnic area they put there at the juncture of a couple of trails. And this man-made trail to the river. I always used to think, oh, North Saskatchewan, gross. So dirty looking. But now I'm quite fond of that river. Okay. Where are we gonna go? I think it's too soon to head south already. So let's carry on here. Let's get a picture of the trail. Let's carry on. That was the end of the Riverside Trail. I don't know what they renamed this, or named it, I guess. Not sure it had a name before, but it is, I think, still part of the Trans-Canada Trail. Very little an elevation change on this trail so far, and I don't suspect there'll be much unless the trail starts dipping down towards the river, which drops down probably 30 meters maybe at the most. But it's nice to make this new discovery to me. And the fact that that bridge just looks like it opened this year anyways, if not in the last couple months. So that was a nice find. Just got to dig a little deeper on trying to find unique places to walk that isn't too far from home. However, the drive to that Quarry Ridge or whatever they're calling it was about a half-hour drive on all freeway. Very picturesque out here, depending on what you like. This is full-blown prairie looking here. Maybe a few more trees than Saskatchewan, but Saskatchewan isn't all that bald prairie either. However, when you're driving through it, it feels like it. So far, this walk has been nicely bug-free. Hey, there's some old farm equipment or something stuffed in the bushes. Can't tell what it is. Almost looks like parts to an old thresher. Or it could be the remnants of a oil pump jack, you know, this being Alberta. Oh, look at this. Foundation or partial foundation to a house, or it could be a an old cold storage bunker, if you will. Well overgrown. This is a nice trail where you really feel quite isolated out here. I mean, there's, you know, trucks roaming around way off in the distance and industry noise that you can slightly hear, but it is nice out here. And they sure keep the grass cut low too. I don't know if it's to prevent fire or fire spreading or what, but whatever, makes it easy to walk through. I think the grass cutter made an oopsie. Plowed down a few fence posts that weren't being used anyways. Yeah, there are the odd person that boats down this river. Not many though. A lot of shallow spots in this river, so I'm not sure if they have a depth finder or what. But the speed they're going, if you hit a sandbar, you're going to go ass over tea kettle for sure. And I mentioned it before, the river does look a little bit deeper than it has for a while. Okay, I'm already 5 kilometers and an hour into this walk. I don't think I'm going to make it to Fort Saskatchewan. I didn't think I would anyways, but at some point here I need to turn around because it will be a 10-kilometer day by the time I get back to the truck, which is good. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday I didn't do any walking, but I did physical activity at work installing equipment, so that's something. It isn't enough, but it's something. They got their pay out of me this week. I actually worked extra hours. Only 2 or 3, but extra none the same. That's okay, every now and again you gotta step up. especially when it's me that overcommitted myself. However, people have grander expectations than they do knowing anything about reality too. And I didn't keep that in check either, so again, kind of my fault that I got slammed this week. But all we can do is move forward. Some days you can't please everyone. Well, I shouldn't have worn my exercise black jeans today. A little warm for it. It's not so much high temperature right now, but I'm right out in the sun. Okay, if I do a 8 to 10 kilometer walk, how far would I have to ride on my bike to do the equivalent calorie burn or the equivalent number of steps? Would it be double? Because it sure would be nice to explore some of these trails on a bike too. Maybe I shouldn't worry about that and just pump up the tires on my bike and go. Because I'm at, what did I say, 5 kilometers back there. So you could really go quite the distance. I think I could easily ride into Fort Saskatchewan and back. Something to ponder. I've mentioned more than once about using my bike. Yet I don't. In my video the other day, when I walked from downtown, or from the river valley up into downtown, I came across that crime scene they had taped off, and apparently it was a woman murdered in her car there on 109th Street in Jasper. I kind of figured something like that had happened. Unfortunately, when you see 10 cop cars and a tent put up over the vehicle that she was in, you know that nothing ever good came of that situation. But at least they caught the guy. Doesn't help her any. Apparently she was an instructor, I think, at Northwest College or something. And this person was known to her. Unfortunate. 4 a.m. on a Saturday morning and someone snuffs your life out. We have a nice river valley view. Other than the transmission lines over their house, it's a nice location. Somebody's got a pipeline going up the hill there too. I wonder what that's about. So far I've met about 10 cyclists and a couple walking their dogs. One of them was a big hound dog that the guy said, he's loud, but he loves people. He wants to meet you. And I said, okay, what the hell? And the dog came right up to me and let me pet his head. Attention whore, eh? That guy passed me going the other way already. Where am I at? Okay, well, I'm already 6 and some kilometers in. So I think I'm not going to make it to Fort Saskatchewan. I thought I might, but it still looks like it's 2 or 3 kilometers there to the very southwestern tip of Fort Saskatchewan as I'm heading north. So I think I'm going to turn and start heading back. Be 12 kilometers probably by the time I get back to the truck, and that is kind of my limit these days. At 12 kilometers I'm regretting my life choices. I do like it out here though. The peace and quiet, the openness, the river. Great place to be on a Friday afternoon. Somebody's losing pieces off their bike. I saw a washer somewhere in the gravel too. Haven't seen anybody lying at the side of the trail with their wheel off or anything. I'll just keep that in my back pocket for posterity's sake. Till I forget about it and put my pants in the wash and my wife thinks the washing machine is falling apart. I've scared her too many times with keeping crap like that in my pockets. She loves those machines. Walking into the sun here, a little hard on the eyes, but the breeze is blowing in my face, which is nice. And the wind's coming from the south or southeast, so I think that will bring in a warming pattern. Like I said, for those mid-20s temperatures. I don't know what it is about staring at a river, but it's quite soothing. My wife tries to help me come up with ideas for videos, and now that I'm on this walking kick, she's like, you should invite people along and you can interview them as you're walking. And I'm like, interview people? Look at me. Where are the people? And where am I happiest? That's right, sans people. Plus, I don't think it would be very engaging with me interviewing somebody, but I think it's part of why I like walking. It's a solitary thing that you can do, and just, I love to say it helps me clear my head, but sometimes as I'm walking it clutters my head too, and I start thinking about things that I need to do or want to do or can't do. So it's sometimes therapeutic, other times it's a little bit brain cluttering as well. But I think the zen of it is a greater factor than cluttering my brain. Love that train horn in the background, if you can hear it through the wind. Now, while I appreciate my wife trying to help me, sometimes I'm like, do you even know me? You know who you're talking to, right? Alas, she's only trying to make my life and my production better. I think in a way me and my siblings are all kind of the same that way. My second oldest sister and husband, we try and go visit every now and again to where they live, and they talk about they like to go to Mexico every year, and my wife chimed in, well, maybe we could go too and meet you there. And he was like, ex-nay to that, no thank you, this is our time, we don't need that or don't want that. I think he said it a little bit more politely than that, but he knew exactly where he stood on that. So I think my sister found a good partner in him as far as the same sensibilities. Me, on the other hand, my wife is a visitor, and it's like, why don't we go to Kelowna for a few days? Yeah, and we can go see so-and-so that I knew from this school, and so-and-so that I'm like, nope, not going then. That's not my intent of going on a vacation, is to go visit a bunch of people that I don't either A, know, or B, hardly even know. Whereas she'll sit at a table of strangers and start making conversation. No thank you. I think I will just blend in with the wallpaper. Those two gals are enjoying themselves, making a lot of noise. But that's okay. My only thought was, the one on the right, you either A, need a bigger bike, or you need to raise up your seat, because you're practically dragging your knees on the ground. There's old man talk, right? Okay, we hit that intersection there where I carried on to the left towards Fort Saskatchewan, and off to my right would have been the trail that we paralleled the river. Now I'm going to head directly south here, and I think it goes down for a kilometer or so, and then we hang a right and start heading towards the Strathcona Footbridge. I believe the sign back there said it's like 17 kilometers to Sherwood Park. We definitely won't be walking to there. Okay, this is a continuation of the Trans-Canada Trail. I think at that intersection back there, when I headed off to Fort Saskatchewan, it was not part of the Trans-Canada. It did not have any markings for it, yet this did. Bremner Lagoons. I don't know, does that have something to do with wastewater and stuff? The underbelly of operating a city, eh? My wife and I, for years now, our supper time guilty pleasure has been watching The Big Bang Theory. And, you know, we try and watch two shows at one and back to back while we're eating, which apparently is not a good thing. Don't judge me on that. But anyways, and we must have watched that show, every one of those shows practically, to the point where we know which ones we didn't really like, so we skip past them. And we also know it so well that we quote various different lines from the shows to each other, and we just giggle like schoolgirls. But apparently there's something soothing and reduces anxiety by watching the same shows over and over again. It kind of gives you it's like comfort food or whatever. Hey look, only 6.5 kilometers to Sherwood Park. Not going to happen for me today. I still have to figure out how to get to the footbridge, which somehow I think I just head down this road. Let me check the map again. Yeah, 1.6 kilometers to the bridge. I hope there's some kind of path, but... And someone tipped the outhouse over. Nice. Nothing like creating an environmental issue. We are adjacent to the golf course again. Maybe I'll just stick to the fence line here on the grass. I can see the bridge off in the distance, but like I said, it's 1.6 kilometers away. I just tripped in a divot, so I need to be mindful of uneven ground. I recovered though, I didn't fall down. So yeah, with watching The Big Bang Theory for us, I think the premise is, from the anxiety perspective, is, you know, your day-to-day life is full of stresses and pressures and stuff like that, and by watching the same show or shows over and over again, it just gives you a feeling of familiarity with the characters, and you know what to expect, and you know the storylines, and it's just soothing that way, because you you know what's going to happen. It's predictable. So somehow that's how we've gotten into this loop of just constantly watching The Big Bang Theory. And you get this weird connection with the characters too, that they're almost like your friend or your kin. Now, psychologically, is that the best way to operate? I don't know. If it makes you feel good, why not? If it's a sign of deeper issues, well, let's just keep them buried and pour some booze on it. And, we've watched other shows, like lately we've been watching Ghosts, the American version of it, because we went through the UK version of it. And, we like Anthony Bourdain's, is it No Borders? He's got a couple different series on, I forget what platform, might be Crave. So we do that too, but no matter what, if we want just a quick fix of something familiar, we always turn on The Big Bang Theory again. I almost feel like I'm walking around the outskirts of a prison. There'd be way more razor wire and a higher fence than this, but obviously that is a keep out zone, and this fence looks practically brand new. So do you guys have a guilty pleasure movie or a series you like to watch all the time? I'm the king of tuning into movies whenever they are on, not necessarily having to start at the beginning. I'll tune into the middle, or maybe tune into the best part of the movie that I like, but whenever Back to the Future is on, I always tune in. The Big Lebowski, that's another favorite. Shut up, Donnie! Oh, that was a good movie. I didn't understand it and kind of hated it when it first came out, but now it's one of my all-time favorite movies. Like, I like tuning in halfway or three-quarters of the way through a rom-com where things are starting to wrap up and they're going to get back together and live happily ever after. Skip the beginning bullshit, right? But it doesn't matter if I tune in late. It doesn't bother me. Watch what I see, and sometimes I'll IMDb it to see what the real storyline was. Mundane man, hungry and thirsty. So I'm glad I'm getting to the downside of this walk of mine. Still got to cross the bridge and go up the hill yet, though. We'll make it. Other than the odd river view, I haven't really stopped either, so it ends up being 2 to 2.5 hours of straight walking. Well, I hope I can get to the bridge through the construction. They're just paving the trail over there, so that's no access right now. Hopefully they'll let me sneak through. Peace and tranquility nullified by all of this construction work. But it'll be good once it's done. There's the bridge. How do I get to it? Oh, they came out through there on their bikes, so perfect. No problem. And if I was paying attention, they had it well marked out anyways. So that's the detour I took there and followed the river all the way around on the Trans-Canada Trail. Well, it says the bridge is closed 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., but I think they're far enough along here that they don't seem to care that people are crossing it. Well, let's get across, start making our way to the truck. Mundane man getting pooped. Oh, there were some stairs there you could take down to here. from the neighborhood above. If they are going to maintain them, maybe they want you taking this trail. Well, let's make our steady climb out of the river valley here. I have to slow my pace up this hill. It is steeper than I thought. Coming down, it didn't feel so bad, but certainly feeling the incline now after 2 hours of walking. I almost took the shortcut up that embankment, but thought, no, this would be easier even though it's longer. And we're not about shortcuts, are we? Other than the sheer distance of this walk, that hill was the most taxing. And it wasn't really much of a hill, but got the heart rate up anyways. Now we're back to fancy pants houses. Another quick view of the river and the golf course. Lots of people out there today, by the number of cars anyways. They're so spread out that you can't tell how many people are really out there, but between the driving range and golfing and whoever's in the clubhouse, lots of people here. Well, this was a good walk where we explored the brand new Strathcona Footbridge, and we followed the Trans-Canada Trail and split off and started heading towards Fort Saskatchewan. Didn't quite make it that far. Doubled back and then completed the loop on the Trans-Canada Trail around that utility plant there, whatever it was doing. And back over the bridge, and here we are. There's Mr. Truck. Let's get there and see how we did today. Okay, that was 17,400 steps, and I did 12.5 kilometers in 2 hours and 35 minutes. And my pace averaged second fastest. So that's good. I knew I was hoofing it pretty good because it was all flat. So that's great. Good walk, nice and peaceful out there, and thoroughly enjoyed this one, other than it maybe being a bit too long, but what else are we out here for, right? Until the next one.